755, 756, 757, 758. I'm just counting up all the portholes that I've drilled out so I could give you a final total in the end, and I've got to the final figure of 750 7 1 2 3 4 5 6
eModels.co.uk. Make something awesome.
Hello, welcome to part 2 of the Titanic video build. Yeah, lots and lots of portholes been drilled out. I've actually drilled out 758. I counted them twice because I needed to. Yeah, 758 portholes. Haven't drilled them all out. There's lots of them. But the next stage, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take it outside because I just haven't got any room or the ventilation in here, because this is going to need some rattle cans. I'm going to go and prime it. I'll certainly prime the outside. I do have some white paint that I'll use on the inside. I'll use white paint on the inside because I'm planning to put lights in the hull, and it'll reflect the light a bit better. Not because there's going to be any light leakage. The hull's thick enough, there won't be any lights leaking through it. So just some white paint inside to reflect the light, some primer on the outside, and then we'll get on and I'll show you how to line the hull up to paint the you see in the back, to paint the hull colours, the black and the anti-fouling red. There's a little yellow line that goes right around there as well. We'll have a look at that. Alright, I'll go and get this outside and get it done, and then we'll talk about the rest of it. Okay, we've been outside and I've given the hull a coat of red anti-fouling. As you can see, I've not been too bothered about where on the hull it's gone, as long as I've sort of covered the bottom section. You'll also see inside that I've given the inside of the hull a coat of white paint. I had some gloss white paint in stock. You can use certainly anything like Tumpeter gloss white. That's so that when we come to do the lighting inside, it will highlight and bounce through all the mini portholes that we've drilled. The next stage is now to mark on the waterline to differentiate between the anti-fouling and the main hull itself. In the black, if this doesn't reflect the white balance out, you can see there the differentiation between the red and the black. Now also, if you look closely, if I can get this into the camera without it destroying all the white balance, there around the top of the hull, around here, is a yellow shear line. In this scale, in the 1/200 scale, it works out something like 2 millimeters wide. It's yellow, so I've got some MIG acrylics, just basic yellow, and also because it's 2 millimeter, now I did try to cut some 2 millimeter wide strips from some masking tape, but it just wasn't working. It wasn't doing my head any good at all. So a quick look on the eModels website, and I found some 2 millimeter Tumpeter masking tape. This is the curvy stuff. This one will allow us to go around curves and things, which might come in quite handy for working out on the aft end when we go around the stern. So what we're going to do, we'll spray that first because we'll need the yellow and then the white, and then we'll come back onto the black. But in the meantime, what we can do, we can work out and we can put in our waterline stem to stern. So what we're going to do first is we'll look at the drawing and we'll count down from the top all the plates until we can locate where it is. Now looking at this drawing here, looking around about here, it works out around about 6.5 plates down from the anchor position. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it works out roughly about there. And then we'll do the same midships. We'll slide this along, and work out about midships where it's going to be as well, which is just down to about here. And then we'll go along to the aft end. I can't slide this right along yet. We'll get to the rudder, and we'll mark that as well. Now from there we will straighten up the hull. We'll make sure it's nice and straight. That's one of the reasons, one good reason for building a stand for the boat to sit in, as we saw right at the start, because we can use that to get the boat nice and level. We can stop all this rocking about, and we can sort it out front to back. And then from there we'll get a pencil. Well, I've been carrying it about in my hand for ages. We'll get a pencil and we'll mark along here. Now you may ask how we're going to keep the pencil straight to mark it all along, because what we want to do is we want to draw a line straight right round the waterline. Now for that I've got a can of beans. Simple as that. It's nice and heavy, so it doesn't rock about. It's nice and broad, once again, so it doesn't rock about. And we take our pencil and we're going to tape generally to the right height, or just about the right height. We'll tape our pencil to the can, and then we will draw it along at the right height for the waterline. Do you see that? See how the idea works? So that's how we can do it. And then we can tape our masking tape, and we can mask off the waterline. So that's how we do it. Right, I'll go and set all this up and get the waterline end, each end marked on, set the boat up level, and I'll show you how we'll get the waterline marked. All right, back in a second. There we are. There's the pencil set up on the bean tin. I've used a little bit of blue tack or white tack just to hold the pencil in position to stop the side to side movement, then taped it on, and then put it up against the ship to work out where the line is going to go, and try it along a few times just to see if anything else needs adjusting. What I've done, I've tilted the hull up a little bit just to be with some white tack just in the bottom, just to level it all up. That's, as I say, that's the joys of having a building stand. Just so you can level everything up, and then you can drag it along. Now, because I know that the surface that it's on is level all along, and the building stand is going to hold the boat sort of properly, I know that I can shift the boat along until because I can't get it all on the bench over that end, and we run out of bench, but because the pencil extends from the can, I can actually drag it along here and mark on the hull, and then we can get just under the counter stern, because the pencil's long enough, it reaches in all along to the rudder, and finish it off under there. Now, if you need any adjusting, you may find that when you go along you'll need to adjust it a little bit, so make a light pencil line first, try and get it onto the black side, so make sure that the pencil is too high rather than too low, so you don't have to rub everything out on the paint that you've already done. But that's it. Now it's the same, we'll do the same on the other side. We'll get the waterline marked in on the other side now, and then we can mask that waterline off, ready for the black. But as I say, we're going to do the top yellow shear line and the white first, because we need to put the light colours on before we put the dark colours on. So that's the starboard side waterline marked off, and we can go across, go and do the other side now. I'll go do that, and then we'll look at getting the shear line done. All right, I'll get on with this. So we'll go along here a bit more, and there's the waterline marked off, and I've backed it up now with some Tamiya masking tape, just so that the pencil line, should it get rubbed off, I now know where the waterline is going to be. I've just got to remember whether it's the top or the bottom of the tape, but never mind, not to worry. The next stage is the shear line. Now you can see that I've already coloured in this. I've laid down a layer of, as described before, a layer of the MIG acrylic yellow. I've sprayed that along the top. It doesn't need to be too deep, but don't worry about it going above or below where you need it to go, because we're now going to mask it off. What I'm going to mask it off with is some of this. It's the Tamiya 2mm masking tape, which is near enough to what we want, and this is a masking tape for curves. Oops, yeah, because if I show you, you can see it. This is a masking tape for curves. Now I've actually applied it to the other side without turning the whole round, but that's what this little red tab is. That's the Tamiya tape on the other side, and it actually works quite well. Because it's flexible enough to follow the curve of the hull round, particularly at the other end, at the stern where it goes under the counter stern, and it really takes down, sort of molds down quite well into the panels. I'll show you how we do that just now. What you're going to do is be patient. Right, let me readjust the angles of this camera so you can see what we're going to do. Right, hang on a minute. All right, I've turned the hull onto one side. It makes things a little bit easier. And what we need to do with the shear line, the same as when you put the waterline on the hull, is take a length of it. And now the Titanic is actually lined quite well. So take a length of the masking tape and just tape it down, just press it down on one end. Don't press it down all the way yet, because we're then going to take out a length of it, and then it follows, if I can find my stick, it follows this line here. The shear line goes under this, because above this is going to be white, and below it is the black. So we take our masking tape, and without stretching it, don't pull it, because you make it thinner, and then it'll go thick and thin, thick and thin. So just take a bit of patience to do this, so don't expect to get it done just in your lunch break from work or anything like that. So just press it down and just guide it into position, and let the tape just fall into place, and it needs to go under this plating line here all the way along. Hope you could see this, hope it's going to come out on the video. Now then, when we get to here, there's an ever so slight kink, and I don't think it'll be noticeable. And now see how it's just sat in there, just leave that for the time being. Now then, as we go along to the rest of the hull, without scratching the paint off, I don't know if you can work out, well, you'll see it when you get the model, there is a double row of rivets just along the top, just here, and the masking tape follows the bottom row of the rivets. So that's what we need to do. So if I, sorry if I get into shot here, but it's just need to see where it's going. Don't stretch it as a not practicing what I preach there. Don't stretch it, don't pull the tape, otherwise you'll make it too thin. And it'll stand out. One thing about masking the Tumpeter tape is it's quite forgiving. It doesn't grab as soon as you put it down, so you can take it up again. There we are. That's gone down. Now we continue that all along the hull, and when you're happy with it, we can go along after that and we can press it in. Let's see if we can move this down. Press it down gently with your thumb, just so the tape sticks, and then we can even further burnish it down after that. You may find that when you come to burnishing it, it might need a little bit of adjustment, and as I say, the Tumpeter tape does lend itself to being taken up. I'm just using the end of a paintbrush just to burnish it in, and I've also got, if I can find it in my drawer while I make a noise and find things in my drawer. I never find things when I want. Where's it gone? I've got my sculpting tool here again, and we could just burnish into the edges of the plates. And then just with something rounded, I usually find something rounded quite good, or even a pencil eraser does the job quite well. Just I haven't got one to hand at the moment. Right, so we'll do that now along the whole of the hull, and then what I'll do after this, I will go across the yellow tape with some more yellow. So I will go across the white masking tape with some more yellow. That will then stop the bleed, because it's quite a lot of ups and downs and lots of plates to go over, and the rivets and things might hold the tape off a little bit. It will stop the bleed. So if we next go across the white tape with some yellow, and then that's that sealed, and hopefully nothing will get underneath it. So right, I'll go and as I say, it takes quite a little bit of time to do this, so I'll go and do this, then give it a coat of yellow, and then I will be ready to do move it back a bit. I'll be ready to do this bit in white. So yellow first, masking tape, then the white, and then we mask the white off, and we can do the black. So get the idea, get the sequence now. Yellow, white, black. Alright, I'll go get this done. See you in a minute. And we're back at the bench with the hull painted. There's been a bit delay between getting it all masked up and actually applying the paint. One of the things that you've got to bear in mind when you're painting outside especially with rattle cans, is that you've got to wait for the right weather. It can't be too hot, it can't be too sunny, it can't be wet, it can't be windy, and it can't be too dry. You've just got to wait for the right day, because if it's a blazing hot sunny day, it's glorious to be out there, but your paint will go off too quick, it won't settle, it might dry in the air before it gets there. You've got to wait for the right sort of conditions, but you'll know when it's right. But as you can see, the holes turned out brilliantly. The masking, as I say, went on well, apart from the shear line up here. I'll be truthful, it wasn't perfect. It did need a little bit of touching up by hand after I'd sprayed it. That was because of a little bit of a leak underneath the black. I think it's really because the tape does need to be burnished down quite well, especially around the rivets and the plating and things like that. But if you come along and see if I can pan this camera around, and you can have a look and see that we've done the whole thing. Everything's done, even down to the end. So that's about all the work done on the hull now. You will see that I have painted the inside of the hull white. That's to bounce the light around a little bit, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a moment, as we go on for what we're going to do. All we're going to do really now on the hull is to do the propellers down that end, in there somewhere, and we can then give the whole thing a coat of clear. It protects the paint. As you can see, it's now on its building stand, and I've used some of the packaging out of the kit box just to protect the hull. Now that's one of the things that you've got to remember when you're spraying these things, especially outside, and something as big as this. You've really got to let the paint go off and let it harden, otherwise it'll just scratch off. The acrylics are quite soft until they go hard, and then you can handle it a bit more, but try not to move it about too much, especially if you're putting something as big as this down, lifting it off, you scratch the paint. So that's what the packing's for. Probably stay there now during the course of the build, because what's going to happen now, everything's going to build upwards. Before we get to that stage, that'll be part of the next video. Before we get to that stage, we're going to look at some lighting in that video, and to that end I've placed some reflective material in the bottom of here. Now all this is just a roll of silver self-adhesive insulation tape. You'll probably find this in most hardware stores. You'll probably find it in the ventilation section, somewhere like that. Hopefully the light will bounce around on the inside, and I've also done that on the undersides of the decks as well, because when the decks goes on, it should bounce it back down. But we're trying to make as much as we can out of this. Now this is also part 2, part of the next video, when I'll show you how to paint the decks, and as I've done on this one, is I'll show you how to do the caulking, or how to represent the caulking on the plastic kit. I know that wooden versions are available from different companies, aftermarket things, but as you know, we're doing this straight out the box. So that'll go on there like that. That's that one. I think this is the front end, and that's followed by the forecastle. Let's just move this around. So the forecastle will sit in there, and we can see how the Titanic is beginning to take shape. So all that's left to do with this now is apply a clear coat, protect the paint, and then I'm going to try and put these I'm going to try and put the decals on the hull. There's the waterline markings, the depth markings. There's the name itself, Titanic, and in here somewhere is Titanic Liverpool. I don't know if you can quite see them on the video, but Titanic Liverpool, they'll go on the back end, and that's really all the work done on the hull. Then we can start building up. But that's all there is for this video. It's just been about getting the hull ready, getting everything ready for painting, and as you can see already, just adding 1, 2, 3, 4 colours, it's starting to look like the Titanic. So right, I'll go off and get things done, and then when you come back, next video we'll look at sort of lighting in the hull and building things up from there. So right, I'll leave you to it. Go and have a look at the eModels website, emodels.co.uk. Have a look, there might be some things in there you might like to buy, especially the Titanic. But until next time, thanks for watching. Ted here at Skipper Scale Models, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye now.